Because I don't know if you have a PhD. If you have, you may know that. If you don't have, I'm going to explain briefly how one of the biggest reasons why someone choose a topic for a PhD. When you do a PhD, it will change for the. I guess it's going to change from university to university. I don't think that's all of them are not the same. I think they're different. You must choose a topic that somehow you are the one. Somehow you need to become the guy on that specific topic. It may be a kind of continuation of research. Maybe you are working with your supervisor and he has some kind of a topic that he worked and he wants you to go on a little bit more. That was more or less what happened to me. Not specifically because I like to go, I always like to go a little bit. I like to be different. I mean, I even try to put that on my research, my landmark. Like I like always should do stuff that's completely somehow new. My supervisors, they wanted me to go on with some kind of insulin model at the time. But I thought to myself, there's a huge amount, it's more or less the same the way of the joke. I thought to myself, there is a huge amount of models of insulin. The group I was doing my PhD, they already had been working with insulin for about 30 years, like 30 years of research on insulin. Not saying the topic is not important, I'm saying the topic is too much already, like, because I don't like any area that you already have a kind of gods, people that are so good on that you cannot even talk to them or cannot even defy them because they are so like. Think about Microsoft. Suppose that you want to launch an operational system. Can you launch an operational system easily? I don't think so. You may launch, but not sure that you're going to compete. You're going to compete with Microsoft. If you want to launch a search engine, I believe you're going to face Google. I like to use a database called MongoDB. MongoDB, one of the reasons why I liked MongoDB, and I even for a couple of times I was invested in MongoDB on the stock market, is because MongoDB does not compete with Google. I think nowadays at the moment to compete with Google is a bad idea. It's the same. I thought the same way because I thought there's a huge amount of people, my supervisors, all of them somehow they already worked with insulin, and you had a huge amount of work with insulin. But then I thought, what can I do to maybe spark some light on kind of research? And on the same time, I was in a group, so I could not do whatever I wanted. I don't know if you have been a group working in your PhD, but it doesn't matter how you want to think outside of the box, you cannot go too much. I mean, I had this difficulty on my group. I'm not saying that my group was bad. I'm saying that when you are in a group, you have some time to let it go. So I thought to myself, how can I let it go? Because I want to do something new. I wanted to be the one on a specific area. At the same time, I want to work with my group. So I accept a kind of a challenge that my supervisor kind of said. He wanted to expand his model of insulin. The problem of the model of insulin is that the model of insulin is just one hormone. And on the joke, you are going to see a huge amount of microphone on insulin. But the joke can be understood as well the way I understood on a kind of second, on a kind of a new direction, because he told the joke in the sense of attention, which was the reason why I did my PhD or specifically on ghrelin, because ghrelin didn't have attention at the time. At the time, there were no model on ghrelin. Later, when I tried to publish a paper, I got a paper rejected because I came to know that somebody else published a paper, but a French researcher called Jacquier. The problem that at the time, first of all, her work was published after I started working on ghrelin. I'm not even sure if you saw my work because I still have this habit to publish on post, to make blogs. Maybe she heard somehow I was working on that because there was a huge coincidence that her model was similar to mine. Maybe I do like open research as I'm doing here on this channel, but I do understand that open research has its risk. Deep learning suffered from the same consequence. Maybe I will leave for you a part of a talk that I saw about deep learning. And one of the reasons deep learning was built as an open science. People were like talking about deep learning. People were developing deep learning, but they knew that somebody else could take the idea of deep learning. If you had an idea of deep learning, open idea, people could take that to the the university and get a lot of money. That's a risk that you have to take. I took the risk with my PhD. So I maybe this research from, I have no proof of that, but maybe this research from French, somehow she saw my blog. But anyway, the model was similar. But the model was a primitive model, was more or less the same version, one of the first version of my model. Because her paper was not about ghrelin, her paper was about the body weight. But the reason why she had to use a primitive model, independent if she used my model before it was published, because she saw on my blog, she didn't want to cite the blog. Independent of the reason, the version was primitive. My model that I published was even higher than the model she used it, because because there was no model on ghrelin, so she had to improvise. That's the reason why she had to improvise, because there was no model on ghrelin. So essentially, I wanted to call more attention to ghrelin. So the joke that this person did on the group, it has to do as well with the fact that I wanted to call attention to ghrelin. I saw that ghrelin was a very important hormone. I saw there was no mathematical model to ghrelin. I saw that if you go to Google, YouTube, you type ghrelin mathematical model, most of the work will be mine, because I did a considerable amount of divulgation, blogs, videos, and so on. So I guess you will find a huge amount of work belong to me. I do like open science. During my PhD, I also did a lot of open science. I know the risk. Somebody else can get your idea, do not cite, because they just want to cite classical scientific paper. They not want to cite blog. I cite blogs, I cite Wikipedia, because I think it's important to give the credit independently or where you published. If your idea is yours, you should cite. Doesn't matter. It's a blog, but I don't think that everyone thinks this way.